So I'm going to pick up today where I left off last time, which was with this warning. So I've spun the server back up and I'm going to go to that. Ooh, where is it located here? HTTP 8601. It seems like everything built correctly, and now I should be able to open this up in Chrome and check out what's going on. So here, we'll check out 8601. And view home looks good. And if I open Command Option J, no errors yet, except for this audio context that was not allowed to start. That's one that I made an issue with the Scratch team on. So now I'm going to say View GUI. And this is where I get this error, which is apparently a Scratch Blockly. Oh, not a Scratch error, but a Google Blockly error. So that one is also not an error of mine. But now I'm going to say try it. And I was getting, interesting. So I was getting this warning, can only update a mounted or mounting component. And then I was going to check out this stage component. But maybe this is an intermittent thing, or maybe when I toggle back and forth. Okay, so it seems like it happens when I leave and then come back. And that could make some sense because initially this was not intended to allow you to go to a different view and then toggle back. So if I toggle back again, do I get the same warning? No, I only get it once. So it's like that stage component is running into issues the second time. So refresh and then to recreate. So not on code. I still need to figure out that error, and that'll probably be something I figure out in deployment or maybe when I'm serving it. So here if I go to view GUI, I don't get the error the first time. I say try it, okay, view home, and now view GUI again. And this is where I get the error. So it's that second time coming back to it. So it can only update a mounted or mounting component. This usually means you called set state, replace state, or force update on an unmounted component. This is a no-op. Okay, so please check the code for the stage component. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at my components and at stage. And this could be, this is a React component, so I have containers and I have components, so it could be the stage component here, or it could be the container. So let's take a look here. And it says it's typically from calling set state, replace state, or force update. So I'm going to see where we have set state. Nowhere do we have replace state. Replace state, no. And what about the third one? Force update. Force update. I don't have any of those inside of this stage component. So that's interesting. So let's close out of components and go to containers. Do I have a stage container? I do, and this is what it could be referring to. So let's see if we have a set state here. We do. We have quite a few of them. Interesting. So I don't really know which one of these is causing it. And I would guess that I don't need all of these set states because a lot of them don't really apply to what I am trying to do here. Start color picking loop. So I probably won't have a color picking loop, and I probably won't have a quote. But let's see if it is set state. So just to confirm and narrow it down, do we have a replace state? Replace state. No, that's a less common life cycle event, so that's probably why that's not showing up. And force update is also less common. So it's one of these set state events, and I'm not sure which one is necessarily being called at the wrong time. So it's being called when it's not mounted. Interesting. Okay, so there are 9 of them. I'm going to flip through them and see if there are any interesting. Ooh. Okay, so I don't think it's the question listener. I'm not doing anything with questions. Handle, question, answered, color picking loop. I don't think that those are it. But this one is interesting to me, this on mouse up. This on mouse up is interesting to me because that's what I'm doing, is I'm clicking on the view and my mouse is going up. And so I wonder if this is it. Mouse down equals false. So I'm trying to run set state on a component that's not mounted. So when do I call on mouse up? Okay, so attach mouse events. So when is attach mouse events called? Attach mouse events. And that's in the component did mount. So those shouldn't be happening until after the component mounts. But maybe the listener already exists. So when I navigate away, maybe I want to detach the mouse events. So here this detach mouse events is removing all of those listeners. And maybe I should be calling that when so where are we calling detach? Because maybe I want to be calling that myself when I move to a different place. Oh, but it does seem to be doing that. It seems to be very intelligently removing the mouse events. Detach mouse event. And it's on mouse up. It's removing that one. On mouse up. On mouse up. So this is where I think the error is. And I'm just trying to debug here. So I've got this on mouse up. Bind all this. Oh, interesting. I've never seen a bind all before. I wonder if that's a function that they wrote to simplify their binding of functions. On mouse up. Interesting. It's like they have to do it 2 times. Touch end. Oh, okay. They've got mouse up and touch end, so that's for like tablets and stuff. So if it's a touch, they can let that up, and that runs the this.onMouseEnd. So this allows students on tablets to also use this. For some reason, it is not doing this. This.setState is dragging. Interesting. So the best way for me to do this, or I suppose I could test this. So let's comment this out and see if that takes care of removing the error, because I think that could be the problem. So here we're going to go back to this 8601, and it could break other things and cause other problems, but let's see what happens here. So here I click on View GUI. We're going to say try it. We're going to go home, and we're going to say View GUI again, and I still get the error. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's that set state. Maybe if I go to every line that has set state, I can slowly remove the options until I figure out which set state is causing it. So maybe it's the mouse down. Which other set states exist? Here, cancel mouse down timeout. So what I'm trying to do is remove the error, and right now it's almost at any cost remove the error by commenting out any line that's calling this.setState that could be triggering that to happen. So here, I'm commenting out any line that's going to do with this.setState. And I'm getting red underlines because it's saying you're not using this parameter because you've commented it out, and that's fine for now because ideally I will be uncommenting out all of this. Okay, so now that these are commented out, I'm going to go back to 8601. And another bug that I'm going to add to my list here in my README, another bug is that refresh on whack code or slash code is not functional. It's not working. You can't refresh. Okay, so here we go to view GUI, and we'll say try it, and now we go view home, and now we say view GUI, and I would imagine that that error is gone, and it is. Cool. So now I just need to figure out which one of those set states was causing the error. And I'd like to keep that code in because it could be something that I'm not realizing is the problem. But maybe I find a way to make the code overall better, and then I can make a pull request to the Scratch GUI project as well, which would be exciting. All right, recompiling. And yep, 404 here. Need to work on that. I added that bug to the list. Let's go ahead and say view GUI. Yep, okay, try it. View home, view GUI. Oh, interesting. Did I get it on my first try? So this question listener, set state question, and question listener, where is that question listener? Add listener, this dot question listener, and do we ever unmount it? Ooh, no. Interesting. So this listener, we add a listener for question. This.props.vm.runtime.add listener. And this dot question listener exists right here, and it's never unmounted. So component, I wonder if the runtime has a way to remove a listener. vm.runtime.remove listener. I wonder if that exists. Listener, no. Interesting. So component did mount this listener. Interesting. So now I've got a bug that definitely exists in my code. I think I know what's causing it. It's this fact that we are adding a listener and we're not removing it anywhere. But I don't know if this bug also applies to the Scratch GUI code and if this is a pull request I should make. But in order to make the pull request, I would have to know if remove listener is a thing. And if it is, then I can test it. And I can say that this remove listener. So I want to find out if props.vm.runtime.add listener has a counterpart in remove listener. So vm.runtime.remove listener. So what I'm going to do is just guess that it's there. And maybe it is, and maybe it's not. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to try to see if remove listener is somewhere. So component did mount and unmount. I need to find where are we removing all of those listeners. Here we are doing it. Detach mouse events. Yeah, where are we calling that? Because it's not really detach mouse events. Component will unmount. And here, maybe I want to remove listener. All right, let's see if that works. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe I'm just making it up. But it's possible that they already have this code written, and I can just use the API in that way. Try it. View home. View GUI. No way. That seems pretty insane. Did that work on my very first try? Wow, that would be super cool. All right, so let's not get cocky. So here what we're going to say is we're going to uncomment this next one, this set state. So let's see if that is going to produce the same error or if that is error-free. This would be super cool because if you have watched the previous videos, you know that I created an issue on the GitHub account for the Scratch GUI. So it would make me feel productive if I could also create a pull request for them for a different thing. Like I'm contributing to the project and to its forward progress. So I'm going to uncomment out the next one and see if I'm still getting that error. So this is kind of slowly but surely here. View GUI, the first one's fine. I say try it, but then I jump back to view home and view GUI. Still working. So it seems like that remove listener might have done it. Let's see, let's keep going. Where else did I have this .set state commented out? So I'm gonna undo that. Yeah, let's keep going slowly but surely. I'm kind of tempted to, let's see. Can I do two at once? Now I won't know which one broke if this ends up breaking things. But after the first couple have worked here, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. View home, view code, view home, view GUI. I'm not getting that error anymore. This seems good. All right, so all I have changed now is I've added this one line. So on component will unmount, I've removed the question listener. I've removed the this.question listener from this, which is pretty fantastically developed on their end, honestly, because they have this remove listener on their VM runtime. So this is pretty sweet that this worked. I mean, it shows that they've really built this to be scalable, which is super cool. So really not a whole lot of credit I can take here. They've just built this really well. So let me see if this works and if I can add that one line of code. All right, view GUI. Try it. View home. View GUI. And to test to make sure that actually is the difference, I'll comment out this line that I added. And now I should get the error again. Let me see if I do get the error. View GUI. Try it. View home. And now I'm hoping to get the error. And I do. Cool. So this line effectively removes that question listener. So let me take a picture here so that I can use that in the documentation when I go ahead and add that error. Cool. So now I'm going to go to GitHub to the Scratch GUI. And I'm going to create a separate clone. So I'm going to clone down the Scratch GUI repo so that I can make a pull request. So I'm going to fork it and then make those changes in a branch. So this is me making a pull request to the Scratch GUI. So it's going to be LK Scratch GUI. And I'm going to fork it. I don't know if that'll allow it. No, because I already have it. So I'm going to delete my current fork. So I'm going to go to my account and delete my current fork. Because this new stuff I'm doing is not on my fork of Scratch GUI. It is, if I do git remote-v, it is on my Avamath Code Championship. So I don't need to worry about overwriting that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my fork of Scratch GUI. Scratch GUI right here. Yeah, this one. And actually, if I haven't done anything, I think I can just update. How do I update my fork? Syncing a fork. Git fetch upstream. Okay, so I'm going to clone this down. Okay, so let's. I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to cd to desktop, and I'm going to git clone. Yeah, I guess I'll git clone my own. I was thinking I could delete it and then just fork it cleanly, but this is probably better practice. So I'm going to say git fetch upstream. It's going to take a while because it's a big project, but then I'll say git fetch upstream and then original owner, original repository. So that'll be their branch here. So what they have here in Scratch GUI. So I'm going to, I've cloned it. I'm going to cd into that, cd into Scratch GUI, and I'm going to run this git fetch upstream. Oh, I think I need to make an upstream. Got it. So git remote -v. Yeah, so I need to say git remote add upstream. Git remote add upstream, and I'm going to add the upstream of their branch, which is this one, or their repository rather. And now if I say git fetch upstream, So if I do git remote -v, both of those exist. Yep, and I want to git fetch upstream. Do I need to say the name of the branch? Git merge upstream. Okay, let's try this. So let me check my branch. I'm going to say git branch, and I think I want to bring development. So I'm going to say git fetch upstream develop. Not something we can merge. Git fetch upstream develop. Cool. All right, let's open this up in code. Seems like it worked. Okay, so now I'm going to say git checkout -b, and I know that they use slashes, so I'm going to say feature. This is actually a fix. Do they call them fixes? How do they have them labeled? commit into develop from Greenkeeper React GA. Okay, so I'm going to say feature. But this isn't a feature. This is really a fix. So what kind of branches do they have? Develop, Greenkeeper, and do they have any fixes? I don't see any, but that's a pretty common naming convention. So I'm going to say fix, and it's remove question listener on unmount. That seems like a long. I don't know what to name this. It's going to be too long. I'm not going to like it, whatever it is. It's going to be too long or not descriptive enough. How have they been naming? ESLint plugin import. Those are all for Greenkeeper though. Save load. I will call this remove stage listener. Stage, I can't help myself, question listener. And I'm going to git push. Yes. I would like to push to my branch or to my repository, and then I am going to make the change. So I'm going to open this up in code, and I'm going to make the change to their source code. So here inside of containers, inside of stage, I'm going to make the same change that I had over here. So on line 81, and maybe their line number is different, but it'll be in component will unmount. And where did I get this from? Add listener. It was in component did mount, and it was after attach renderer. So after update rectangle. So I should probably put it below update rectangle below. Okay, so remove listener. So I'm going to put it down at the bottom actually. All right, and I'm going to copy that and paste it into here. Where's component will unmount? Put that there, and that's my whole pull request. So I'm going to git add, git commit, remove event listener, remove question event listener, question event listener on stage unmount, on stage unmount, and I'll get push. And now I will make a pull request. So compare m pull request. And what GitHub issue does this resolve? And I don't think there's an issue. Resolves. I don't know if I need to create an issue for it, or if I can just explain it here in the pull request. So here, issue when building routing on top of Scratch GUI, returning to Scratch GUI would yield error of, and then I can copy that error that I wrote earlier in the README. So it's this one. Ring. It seems like other listeners are removed on component will mount. So this brings the question listener up to those, maybe to match that pattern. So this matches that pattern with the question listener. This line of code stopped the error from occurring. I tested multiple set states and this line of code seemed to stop the error from occurring. Okay, describe what this pull request does. Removes event listener from question on component will unmount of stage component container. Reason for changes. Error seen in console. I'm not sure why I did this. I don't want to do anything fancy here. I just want to add this screenshot. Oh, I guess it automatically changes it to an image tag. That's cool. Test coverage. Alexa, stop. Test coverage. Please show that you have added test to cover your changes. I'm not sure how to create the tests for this. Be interested in learning. Browser coverage. Oof. I don't know. I know that it works on mine, which is Chrome on a Mac. And hopefully they accept it, and maybe they won't. But I hope they do. I'm trying to help. So let me just make sure if I take a look at this and I make the request, yeah, so it's just this one line of code is all that I'm doing. So I'm going to say create pull request. All right, it looks like that is all set up. And hopefully the continuous integration checks come back and it all checks out. But that is where I am going to put this code. So this is all kind of a part of feature routing as far as I'm concerned, because that bug was something that came up when I tried to add routing. So now this bug is no longer here. So I'm going to leave the refresh on whack code is not functional bug. And I've added a few more details. This is something I did outside of a video. It was just brainstorming and thinking of how I'm going to break down the future steps. But let me go ahead and I'll say that's good. Did that, installed the Scratch GUI. And maybe I shouldn't put an X here because not everything is done. Make Scratch GUI display on whack code view. Not totally done because I haven't been able to refresh, so I need to be able to do that. I'm not going to check that box yet. Comment out features to slim it down. That is going to be a big one, so I'll probably break that down into smaller steps, but I haven't done that. Continue to production build version of React. So that was working according to my last video, but this one I'm not going to check off until after I actually go through that. Okay, but I have installed the Scratch GUI, so I get to check that box, and that feels good. So I've removed that error, and now what I'm going to do is git add commit push. Or here I will just say, what was this? Fix error from question listener not being removed. And that brings me one step closer, one small step closer. All right, and that's where I'm going to stop.